Okay, the next thing we're going to do is pretend that we're sewing a cuff onto a sweatshirt. So what I'm going to do is use a Seam and Overcast stitch that's designed for stretch fabrics, which these are. And that stitch is number 15. Now if you're wondering, if you haven't looked in your book yet, and you're wondering what all these stitches are for, there are a couple of pages in your manual that show all of the stitches and describe, especially for the utility stitches, what they're used for. So it's a really good idea to get familiar with those, or at least know where that is in your manual. I even go so far as to copy that page, put it in a page protector, and slide it under my machine, so it's really convenient for me. Okay, so I'm going to take my ribbing for my cuff. I'm going to select that stitch number 15, which is the Seam and Overcast for stretch fabrics. And the foot that I need is foot 3. So that's another foot we haven't seen before. And it looks like this, and it can look really scary if you're not familiar with it. It's got a lot of parts on it. So it's got the metal parts. You can see it's got the cutout in the back, so you can use it with the IDT, and that is recommended here, so we will engage that. It's also got an adjustable guide. So this little red piece here is a guide that will help you get your fabric lined up. And again, it is adjustable. I'm going to leave it where it is for right now. And I'm going to put the foot on, so I'm just going to slide that under my ankle, line it up, and lift up the ankle. And then I'm going to engage the walking foot, so just pull down and forward. And then I'm going to stitch this cuff onto my sweatshirt. So this stitch, the Seam and Overcast stitch, if you think about it, it's a stitch that sort of imitates the stitching that you would get on a serger. So what it's going to do is sew a seam and then finish the edge all at the same time. So we'll go ahead and get started, and I am going to activate needle down for this. So I'm going to go ahead and get started sewing. Okay, with needle down, then I can adjust my fabric, make sure I've got it where I want it, and keep going. And I stop and if I don't pin, I stop and adjust my fabric every once in a while. So you see, I don't have to push or pull the machine with the top IDT pulling and the bottom IDT, or the bottom feed dogs pulling it through. I don't have to push it through. The machine does all of that work for me. Okay, so I'm now at the end there. I used the hand wheel to pull up my needle that time. You can use the button anytime you want. So there's the Seam and Overcast. So the seam goes along here, and then it finishes that edge for you. And I missed some spots. I knew that was going to happen. Sorry, no judgment, right? Now there are other Seam and Overcast stitches designed for other types of fabrics. Number 16 is the one you would use for woven fabrics. It uses the same foot. It does change the tension a bit, and the stitch looks a little bit different. Okay, so that's Seam and Overcast.